feelings tonight. Sensational feelings as one. Let us explode once again.
Okay, this abduction, out-of-body experience abduction happened on April 15th. And I was talking to the beings for an experience, and I probably wouldn't have gotten it if I wasn't talking to them. But one of the interesting things that happened in this experience proves my point that back in 2003 through 2006, when I was going out of body every day, and they were, when I thought I was just going to all these other realms and dimensions by myself, I was not. And this experience proves my point. But like I say, I was doing it a little different. The beings were making me go out of body differently. Because it seemed like I was doing it by myself and on my own. But they were still doing something to my brain to trigger it. But I don't know why now, when they give me, when I go out of body, it's a little different. It's not like I went out of body, the times back in 2003 through 2006, where I just shot off on my own. I don't know why they're not programming me to do that now. I don't know. But back when I thought I was doing all that by myself, which it felt like I was just shooting off by myself, going to all these other realms and dimensions, but it was the aliens that was still triggering all of that. Indirectly or whatever. Or directly from a distance or whatever. But, yeah, and this experience proves my point. And I will tell you later about that. Okay, so anyway, so this experience, the reason why they put so much, well, actually not they, but the reptilian, he put a lot of, this wasn't Technicolor. Technicolor is like fake, technological, vibrant colors, like what you saw in Wizard of Oz. Those kind of colors. They've never quite done, gave me an experience that looked like that before. But that looked like fake, technologically bright. But I was, a couple months ago, I was asking them, well, can't you because see, sometimes when you ask for something, you don't get it right away. They don't give you the experience till like a month or two later or whatever. But yeah, just a couple months ago, or maybe 3 months ago, I was telling them, can't you put, more bright colors in my scenario, in my abduction scenario. And yeah, apparently the reptilian was listening. So this is how the abduction went down. And let's see, as far as I remember, let's see. this time this happened at 4:30. Well, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning. I think I woke up several times before that and then went back to bed. But the last time I woke up at 4:30 in the morning, like I went to the bathroom and then I laid back down, and then I started talking to them. I really wasn't expecting an experience, but I got it. And so I was like, you know, reptilians, are you there? Are you there? Do you want to come give me an experience, an out-of-body experience, or a virtual reality experience? And like I said, I really wasn't expecting an experience. And then he gave me one after 4:30 a.m. So this is how it went down. And also, I was telling them for, many times, like I wanted to fly around like a freaking crow. Like when I see the crows up there flying around, that I wanted to do more of that in my scenarios, my abduction scenarios. So I was asking if they could give me that, where I could glide around and fly around like a freaking bird. Well, they didn't, or he, didn't quite give me, he's given me experiences, where, I'm flying around, like astral traveling in the sky, like going over neighborhoods and stuff. That's not what I was quite asking for, but he kind of gave it to me like that. But someday maybe one of the reptilians will give me, what I was trying to ask for, like literally like how the crows fly around, how they can just glide around and just kind of go, lower and higher. And, they don't even have to flap their wings sometimes. They can just glide around like in the wind before they even, flap their wings again. That's what I was trying to ask, but he didn't give it to me quite like that. But it was still a blast. Okay, but I think he tried to. So I think, because I asked for that, and then I asked for, I asked for it many times about the bright colors, like making some of my experiences like with bright, bright, bright colors. You know what I mean? Because, because I was thinking about, that Wizard of Oz, what they call Technicolor or whatever. But like I said, they've never really, given me experience where it looked quite that fake, if you know what I mean. And still, this was not fake at all. It was totally no different than just being there in 3D, looking at all these people with bright ass colors on and striped colors on. But like I say, maybe some people do have, experiences like that where it's like real artificial type of colors. I don't know. But, okay, so anyway, this is how the experience went down. So I woke up at 4:30 and I started talking to them. And then sometime after 4:30, I got this abduction. And what the being did, okay, I flew straight up in the air. I can't remember if he was actually there with me or not. Sometimes I can feel the being flying along with me. Like back in 2004, I clearly knew a being was there flying along with me. This time, I can't remember if I actually felt him with me or not. I don't think he was with me, but anyway, still I had the experience due to him. And he's given me a similar experience. No, well, not similar, but I'll tell you about it in a minute. A similar out-of-body experience back around 2004 or 2005. And so it was probably the same being that gave me that experience back in 2004 or 2005, that out-of-body experience. But I could talk about that in a second. Okay, so this is how the experience went down. He flew me straight up in the air, really high, like maybe about, let's see. Shit, I don't know. Not too terribly high, but like, let's see. About, I would say about 25 stories. Or maybe even 20 stories high. He flew me straight up in the air about 20 stories, and then we flew left. Whatever direction that was, I'm not sure. We flew left in a straight line, and I just kept flying and flying and flying in a straight line. And the, I don't know if it was necessarily the astral realm or just whatever realm they created for me. But it was black, it was dark, it was, and it was still dark and, 4:30 in the morning here as well. So that's why I put the little arrows, because I shot straight up in the air about 20 stories, and then he took me left, and I just kept flying in a straight line. So I think he was trying to, and it was a blast. I think he was trying to, imitate what I was telling him or asking him to give me, about like flying around like a crow or a bird or whatever. So I think he was trying to give me that experience or whatever. Yeah, so it was a blast. Okay, so then, but like I say, I can't really remember if I felt the being there or not flying with me, because like I say, a couple times I clearly, knew the being was there flying along with me. Back around 2004 and 2005, but like when they give you an experience, they don't necessarily have to be there with you, if you know what I mean. They just are very good. They're very technological. They can create anything you want. Any kind of reality, any kind of dimension. It's really awesome. Okay, so anyway, so he flew me straight up in blackness, and then we flew to the left in blackness for a little while. And the whole time, I was thinking, okay, when are things going to clear up for me, because I always think that, because I always know when I'm abducted and I'm, flying through the darkness, I always know that I'm going to the scenario, that I'm traveling to the scenario. So I'm always like anticipating, okay, when am I going to land in the scenario or whatever. So finally, he plopped me down. He stood me down in a park. This park was, it was small, but it was rectangle. It was like a rectangle park, very sunny, very green, almost like springtime, I would say. And there was, oh my God, there was at least, oh my God, I would say at least 500 or 600 people. And what the deal was, these people paid to go into the park, to have a barbecue, and to socialize, and to meet, new people and stuff. That's why there were so many people. It was almost kind of like a bar, like when you go into a bar, you pay to go into a bar to try to meet up with some skank or whatever to have sex with or whatever. Except this wasn't a bar, it was a park. But why he relayed that information, why he programmed me to already know all that, I have no idea. But this was a beautiful park. And like I say, there was, oh my God, there could have been even at least 1,000 people. And it was a small park, so it was very, very packed. Because it wasn't a very big park, it was totally rectangle. And like I say, people, that's why there's so many people there, because people paid to go into the park, to socialize, to meet new people, or lovers or whatever, and to have a barbecue. And, okay, so I was just standing around, looking at people, but at first, this was the interesting part. At first, it was like I was looking through goggles. That's why I put a picture of these goggles. And because it was like, sometimes when they abduct me and they put me in these scenarios, it's like looking through goggles. It's like, I don't know why. I don't know why it's like that. I don't know if it's just part of the virtual reality experience that they want to create for me. To be like that, I have no idea, but they haven't. All my other experiences, I haven't had this goggle type of experience since like 2004, 2005, when this, same being gave me that experience back in 2004, 2005, where I landed in Tacoma, Washington, in a softball field. And to zoom up on people's faces and to really look at their faces like really clearly, it's like I kind of had to strain and kind of like concentrate hard. And it was like I was looking through goggles. But this time, okay, so at first when he plopped me down into the park, I was looking over to my left. It was mainly white people. There was more white people than black people. It was mainly white people. I looked over to my left and I was kind of zooming in on these men's faces, and they all looked about, pretty young, late 20s or 20s or early 30s or whatever. And a lot of the men, these are actually women's shirts, but it was more men than women. And the men had totally striped, bright rainbow color shirts on, just like this. Like, everybody in the park either had striped, bright colors on, or they had solid, bright colors on. So that was really cool about this experience. And like I say, I was asking for that many months ago, and I asked it many, many times about putting, bright stuff in my scenarios. But like I say, at first when he landed me down in the scenario, and I looked to my left, and I was looking at all these white men's, their faces and stuff, but it's like I was looking through goggles. Whereas, like, almost like somebody with glaucoma. Like, if somebody had glaucoma, you know how they can't look at the side? They can't see out of the sides of their eyes. They can only see, like, straight ahead. And, like, they can only see a small area within a black circle or whatever. Yeah, so that's the only way I can explain it. But it was only like looking through goggles just for just for a few minutes. And then it wasn't like looking through goggles at all. Everything was just totally, I didn't have to like strain to look at these people's faces or whatever. But when he first plopped me down into the scenario, I was looking over to my left and I was looking at all these damn people. There was freaking tons of people around. And I specifically looked to my left and started zooming in on this one guy's face. And he was a white guy. He had light color hair. But it was like looking through goggles. It was so weird. And then it's like the goggles were taken off of me. And then the next thing I know, I'm walking to my right. And there's some white men over to the right standing around, huddled up. And then there's a black guy. And the reptilians, they always put black people in my scenarios. It's really weird, but I think because they know because a lot of black people are reptilians. Maybe they know that. I don't know. But, and the reptilians, I think they always want you to know, hey, we are giving you this experience, or I am giving you this experience, so that's why I'm going to put black people in your scenarios, because that is our marker. You know that that's me giving you the experience when I put black people in your scenario. It's more than one reptilian that's putting a black person in my scenario. At least 2 or 3, I believe. Joel does it, but this abduction definitely was not by Joel. Joel always does rogue things. But anyway, so this park, it was sunny, and it was like springtime. Everything was green and beautiful, and everybody had either striped, like Oxford kind of shirts on, totally striped, exact same colors, just like this, or a lot of them also had just single color, bright colors. Everybody in the park. So that was really awesome about this experience. So anyway, about the black guy, I looked over and started looking at a bunch of men, just standing there. And I saw this one black guy. But I was like, I could only see like the right side of his face at first because he was turned. And then I had to move my head around. And then I saw his right eye shapeshift into a reptilian, just like this. Or actually, I guess it's not his right eye, it's his left eye. But I had to, at first it's like he was trying to hide his face from me, and I only saw his right side of his face, and then I had to walk a little ways and turn my head around so I could see his left side of his face. And then that's when I saw his left eye turn into a reptilian. So that was kind of cool. but he was really nice. He didn't, he gave off really nice energy and everything. Okay, so then the next thing I know, I'm just walking past a bunch of people straight ahead, and it's like there was a little building over to my left, like one of those little buildings, like maybe it was a building, to go to the bathroom in, I don't know. But there was like a little building over to my left, or maybe that was where you rented the bicycles out. But yeah, so I started walking straight ahead, and then I started walking to my left, and then I looked up in the sky, and there was a black helicopter, stalking me, so to speak. It was surveillancing me and stalking me. And they know that happened before in real life in 3D back in 2013. Let's see, was it? Yeah, 2013 in February. They know that that's happened before. And of course, but this was in an altered state of consciousness. So the black I looked up in the sky and I was just kind of like, oh shit, So the black helicopter was stalking me basically. And then you're not going to believe what else was flying after the helicopter was. I put a semi truck in here because I punched in on the internet like flying trucks, and but the truck that was flying, it was like a UFO except it was a truck. It was a flying freaking half-ton truck, and that was flying, about 100 feet behind the black helicopter. And but that's what I mean by these beings. Some of the reptilians are very, very, very comical. Very comical. And that's not the first time this being has, in my altered state of consciousness, gave me a virtual reality experience, and where I was looking, where I went out the front door, and there was a freaking UFO hovering there, but it was a truck. It was like not a half-ton truck that time. It was just a regular big truck. And it was just hovering there, and I was looking under it, but it was like a UFO, but, it was symbolic of a UFO, but it was a freaking truck. And so, see, that's why that you're thinking, okay, that's why that when you have all these experiences, you're like, okay, that being gave me this experience, these beings are come forward and give you many, 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 many experiences, and that's how it's the same being over and over again. Even though, a lot of times you're not going to know what they look like because they don't show themselves. But them, wow, that's the being, that gave me that experience in 2012 or 2013 or 2004. Because they do the same shit over and over again. It's so awesome. So yeah, so that was about in 2014 or 2013 when I was, when I had a virtual reality experience where I was looking out the front window, and there was a freaking UFO hovering there, but it wasn't a UFO, it was a freaking truck. A big truck, not a half-ton truck. Just a normal big truck. Not a semi-truck, just a normal big, Ford truck. Except it was, stretched out and everything like a wide. So anyway, the next thing, after I looked up and saw the black helicopter, I started, walking faster over to that little building to my left. And so after I saw the black helicopter, then I saw I started walking faster, and then I looked up and saw the truck, the half-ton truck, just flying along like a freaking helicopter, except it was a truck. Then I was like, okay, I need to get away. I was trying to get away from the black helicopter, basically. The truck didn't scare me, but I was trying to get away from the black helicopter. So then there was this gay little bike sitting there, just like this. This is like a 1-speed bike, I believe. It's like, what the heck are you going to do with the 1-speed bike? You can't get up a hill with that. But anyway, but for whatever reason, the reptilian told me that it was a 3-speed. I don't know why, but I knew that it was a 3-speed bike. So I got on the bike, and I started riding off, pretty fast. And I was thinking, this is a 3-speed bike. I was just thinking, wow, this is such a goofy bike. And I'm thinking a 3-speed bike, that's not going to, be very fast. But anyway, the park was all flat, so it didn't matter. But the reptilian, they put this gay little bike in my scenario because they remember that I watched an episode of Shark Tank where that one woman invested in these gay bikes that are mainly used for the beach. So that's why he put this gay little bike in my scenario, in my abduction scenario. But anyway, and okay, so what I was going to say was about the, taking me out of body, and when they first placed me down into the scenario, it's like I'm looking through goggles temporarily. Back in 2004 or 2005, I shot off out of body. After I broke the sleep cycle, I started twirling through the galaxy, or whatever you call it. I started twirling through the black astral realm. And of course, sometimes I would have my eyes open, sometimes I would leave them closed, and I would be like, okay, anticipating, okay, when am I going to stop? When am I going to stop? When am I going to plop down into the other dimension? Well, at that time, he plopped me down into Tacoma, Washington, in a big field, a big softball field in front of a volcano. And I have been to Tacoma, Washington before, when I was 19 years old, many, many, many years before 2004. And, there was a volcano in Tacoma, Washington. So see, they use all these bits and pieces from your brain to create your scenarios. So anyway, but at that time, I did not know the aliens were giving me all these out-of-body experiences. I thought I was doing them on my own. But I was not. They were doing it they were giving me the ability to do it. Okay, so anyway, and some of the people look familiar. In that abduction, when I was zooming it, right as he placed me down, in the grass at the park, at the not a park, but at the softball field, back in 2004, there wasn't even enough people to be a softball team, but there was about 8, and there was one man coach and about 8 women, maybe not even that much, maybe 7, and some of the women looked familiar. But at first when he plopped me down, but like I say, at the time, I thought I really was in the heaven realm. I thought I was in the heaven realm. I really did. And now I know, I don't know where the hell I was. I was in whatever dimension they wanted me to be in, or whatever they created for me. I guess it could be, synthetic dimension. But as far as I'm concerned, nothing is synthetic, because this stupid reality is synthetic too. So this 3D reality is freaking fake. So as far as I'm concerned, I was in the heaven realm. If that's what they created for me, then I was in the heaven realm. And it felt like heaven. It was heaven. But, and so right as he plopped me down, I was standing there, and I was zooming in on people's faces. But I was like looking through goggles. It was like looking through goggles as I was looking at the features of these women's faces, and they were about early 20s. And like I say, some of the women looked very, very familiar to me. And I was like, many times back then, I was like, wow, this is so cool because I can see them, but I know they can't see me. Many, many times when they gave me out-of-body experiences back then, I would always be thinking that, when I was out of body, I always knew I was out of body. I always knew exactly what the hell I was doing. But I did not know the aliens were giving me the experiences. I thought I was doing them on my own. But, but now there was other times back then, around 2004, 2005, where I, they took me out of body and they took me to the school down the street. And where I knew I was still, I was in 3D. I knew I was in 3D, except I was out of body. And the teachers couldn't see me, but I could see them. But like I say, every time I traveled, where they made me actually travel many minutes through the black galaxy before I landed to the reality, and everything, became bright and clear. Everything cleared up and became daylight and everything after that. I thought I was going to the heaven realms. Most of those times I thought I was going to the heaven realms. And like I say, now I don't know where the hell I was, but I don't care if, if it's what you call, virtual reality experience. I mean, I'm still out of body. Some of the out of body experiences are also virtual reality. Because it's the aliens that are creating all this crap for people. And like I said, I don't believe for a second that anybody has an authentic out-of-body experience, so to speak. It's the aliens that are controlling all that. So, nobody really knows if it's what's really real. You know what I'm saying? And I don't believe anybody has a successful out-of-body experience. Where they see all this stuff or go to other realities or realms, just like what I'm doing, by themselves. I guarantee you they are not. They may think they are, but I guarantee you it's the aliens that are taking you on all those trips. I guarantee it. But anyway, that's what was really cool about this experience was the black guy reptilian. And but like I say, this reptilian is totally benevolent, totally comical and quirky. This one definitely isn't a pervert because he never puts perverted things. I do not know what, his face looks like, of course, but he never puts perverted. I know him by the shit that he does. Like the goggle thing and like the goggle thing. Yeah, the goggle thing. And then, of course, putting the black reptilian in there. So yeah, I have no idea what reptilian alien, is giving me these experiences. I don't know what he looks like, but I know it's obvious that, a lot of these beings, they are very comical. They're very benevolent. They'll give you what you want. They're very helpful, and they want to be helpful. And they'll give you what you want. And some of them aren't perverted in any way, shape, or form. Most of them are, but a lot of them aren't. Because like I say, this being gave me this experience, and then I have no doubt gave me that one in 2004, and then gave me the one in 2014 where the UFO was just hovering there, but it was a freaking truck. It was a freaking normal Ford truck hovering over there really low, just covering about 3 freaking blocks or 4 blocks, something like that. But yeah, so yeah, when you start having a lot of experiences, you'll know, like, wow, that same being must have gave me this experience. But like I say, it does kind of suck. I don't know why they're not into showing themselves more often. I have to beg them to show themselves. And I haven't talked about some other experiences where I did get them to show themselves. They were flat-faced reptilian beings, and they were totally benevolent. But I did ask them to show themselves, and they did. But you have to freaking beg them, for the most part, for them to show themselves. But not always, because like Venus, when I was asking for an experience at 9 o'clock at night, she showed herself to me. And then gave me an experience that, 6 o'clock in the morning. And that was when, she gave me that out-of-body experiences and virtual reality experiences. I talked about that in one of my other videos, but yeah, these beings are a blast, man. So that was my experience, my reptilian alien abduction to the park again, and to the barbecue, basically. But like I say, I had nothing to do with any of these people. I'm always a complete loner in all of these freaking experiences. 9.9 times out of 10, I'm a complete freaking loner. If you know what I mean. And I think the reptilians are too. Most of them, anyway. And most of them that give me experiences, most of the time, it's just one being that's giving me the experience. Not like a big clump of them. But anyway, I wish somebody else maybe knows what I'm talking about the goggles, I know I'm not saying you literally have goggles on you don't have goggles literally on your face. But what I'm saying is sometimes after they abduct you, and then they plop you down into the virtual reality scenario, at first it's like, looking through goggles. It's like you have glaucoma at first. I don't know if anybody else can relate to that. Or if it's just the way this being likes to play with me or whatever. I don't know. But thanks for listening.